Hey, what's up everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you another video. All right, so I got my shoes. Some black J's. What are they? The Jordan Spike Z low blacks. So that's what I'm gonna be kicking around in for the time being. I'll probably have to get myself some new insoles for those, because I know how I am. I'm a one insoles. So yeah, man, it cost me about what, 182 was what they were. A little more than I wanted to spend, but about what you expect when you're gonna pay for J's. In fact, you probably expect to spend more, to be honest with you. But yeah, man, they had my size over here. Very thankful for that. And you know, the idea is to just buy some shoes that ain't gonna get too dirty, that do look the way I want them to look. Keep them for about a year, stomping around in them, and that's it. That's really what it's about for me. I don't doubt that, you know, if I had my situation more stable, I would have much more of a collection of shoes. But the idea is to only have 2 in rotation, so that everything is easy to transfer back and forth. So my intentions is to get rid of those other ones that I have and keep these, and just have those 2 in rotation. So yeah, man, you know, just wanted to have some new shoes for the situation. If I'm gonna be going to the church tomorrow or something like that, if I go out with my uncle or something, I just didn't want the same shoes I've been kicking around in for this occasion. That's really what it came down to. Just didn't want that. But yeah, man, it's a good day. Not too hot for the walk that I'm taking right now. It's about 80, 81, 82 degrees. And so, you know, it's one of those situations where I just felt that this would be a great opportunity to stay local, get something that I want for myself, and, you know, just make it an outing where I get some steps in. Not many steps as I usually get when I go to Hollywood or nothing like that, but enough walking to make an exercise day of it. So that's really what it is, man. Very happy my uncle's in town. He made it in. Last I checked, he was getting his rental and everything, and getting settled. I'm not sure what the deal will be as far as our plans. I think we'll likely try to make it to church tomorrow. He sent me a list of churches and apartments and things in the vicinity of one another that was put together by some type of AI that he has. But when I tried to download it this morning, it only had 1 page, and I know he sent more than 1 page. So he's going to try to send that again, and I'll sort through it and see if we can find something that works in regards to having a place for me to kind of start applying for, and maybe try to get myself into sometime this week if we can. And it'll be close by to a church, which is a priority for him. And you know, for myself, it's not as much of a priority to have a church home, to be honest with you guys. You know, my relationship with God is tight, and my relationship with church is a bit, I don't have the same trust level for it. And I think a lot of people in my generation don't. I think we believe we can kind of do this relationship with God thing without really necessarily needing to go to church. It's just a lot of stuff that's been revealed to me in the church that was both positive and negative. And so I weigh that against itself and just say, you know what, I'm open-minded. If God wants me to have a church home, I'll be more than happy to have one. But you know, it's not really a priority for myself personally to kind of do the whole Sunday morning practice thing. That's not really my thing, to be honest with you. But I do pray every day, do my Bible verses and stuff like that. You guys know how I am. You guys know me very well. So, you know, at this point, it's more about just making sure that I have a place that's near a train station. That's really where my priority is, so that I can have access. And when I say near, about as near as this one is, you know what I mean? Because really, I don't live that close to a train station here, but it's about an hour walk, and I don't mind it. So that distance is probably a little further than I'd want it to be permanently going forward. But you know, just the same, if you could get something near a train station, I think it'll be really good for me to be able to have access to everything and not be so pressed to purchase a vehicle once I move wherever I'm moving. So that's really what it is, man. I'm asking God for guidance. I think what it really comes down to is, you know, I've done well on this side of town. That's what it is for me. I've done so much better here than I had when things were stable in my life. This has kept me on my toes because I have to leave every 3 weeks. It's kept me sober, although I do feel motivated to stay sober. The idea was because I don't have the ability to really settle, to never allow my mind to go anywhere other than positive spaces. So that's kind of what the idea behind becoming weed free was all about. But like I said, I feel pretty motivated to stay weed free even if I do get my own place. But just the same, a lot of things are in place as a byproduct of this circumstance being as it is, and how I respect the importance of saving money in this situation, respect the importance of keeping my mind right in this situation, respect the importance of keeping a relationship with God in this situation. And so that's really what it is for me. That's the main reason why I've done so well. It's because this circumstance, in my opinion, requires that I stay sharper than being at Lenox when I had no reason to expect being displaced. Would otherwise, you know, force me into. It didn't really force me to stay on my toes like that. But so much good has come from being this way that I don't really think that I'm going back in any direction of negativity. Not at all. And so I think there's a little bit of concern about that. Just when you're in a space where you're doing well and you feel good, that you put yourself in a position to have so much progress, you don't really want to leave that situation outright. You know what I mean? You don't want to just find yourself saying, you know what, let me just get out of this situation, go back to circumstances that maybe I didn't do well in and expect to do well. It doesn't really work like that sometimes. And sometimes it requires you to stay in the space that you're in where you're doing well in order to do well. And so that's what I wonder about. I'm not too thrilled about moving on from a space where I'm doing well. Like this is these circumstances. As a grown man, I can say from a personal standpoint or a personal goal standpoint, I've been thriving. I've been staying out of trouble. I've been staying sharp. I've been saving money. Been exercising as, you know, and as I said, staying weed free and staying sucker free, all different types of stuff that's positive. I've been doing a lot of that since I got on this side of town. And I don't know that I'm ready to move on from these circumstances yet. I'm not sure I am. And so that's really what the anxiety's been about, and less about anything else. It's just say, yo, am I ready to move on from this? I'm in an era of my life that I'm enjoying. I like the environment I'm in. I like the people I'm around. I like the routine that I have. I like even some of the parts of it that are not supposed to be desirable, like having new quarters every 3 weeks. For somebody who stayed in the same apartment from 0 to 16, and then moved once and then moved into another apartment where he was there for another 13, 14 years, and then left there, moved again, stayed there for a year, and then moved to another space where I was at for like 8 years. You don't get a lot of change. A lot of people I've known, including my mother, they moved a lot when they were younger. Me, not at all. So for me, this has been a breath of fresh air to give me some type of change, consistent change, which to a point is desired when you've had so much stability, or dare I say stagnation, to your living situation. So it's a lot of things about being in this situation that I'm not overly thrilled about moving on from. Now, when I'm ready to move on from it, I definitely want to be able to. And that's just like anything else. But when you're not initiating it yourself, and somebody else is coming in saying, yo, all right, we're moving you on from this, it's like, let me figure out when I actually want to do that. It's kind of where I'm at with that. But if this is the best opportunity for me to, then maybe I need not get in the way of that either. And so that's what I kind of have been warring with. Like, if this is the best opportunity for me to have an apartment, you know, while somebody's in a position to where they can use their name and their credit to get me on it, they're in it, then maybe it's not my best interest to get in the way of that. And so that's what the prayer has been about. You know, my uncle wants to get me into an apartment within the next several days, but the reality is that's gonna uproot my routine and my way of doing things dramatically, basically overnight. And for somebody like myself, that's not a welcome thing, unless I'm drastically changing my financial situation. You know what I mean? Unless you're giving me millions and millions of dollars. In that case, it ain't gonna be hard to move on from humble situations going into a wealthy situation. But anything aside from that, it's like, yo, why am I moving on from all these that is making me mentally healthier? All these circumstances have been better for me than having my own place was. I'm doing better in this situation. And so, okay, maybe I do need to be moving on from it, but do I need to move on from it overnight against my own decision? I don't particularly find myself great with that. I'm not comfortable with that. And that's what I've been really dealing with, man. But you know, like I told God, I'm like, look, man, I don't want to stay any place you don't want me to stay for any length of the time that I'm not supposed to be there. I don't want you to lead me toward anything that I'm not supposed to be led toward at all. Every situation I've ever been in, living wise, I've usually had to move against my own will. In fact, no, not usually, every single time. Every time I've moved, it was against my own will. And that is something I can't deny. It's just the truth. When I moved on from the first place when I was 16, I didn't really want to move there. I was happy about having my own room, but I was uncomfortable because I had never moved before. I'd never lived anywhere else. When I left that place, after getting there several years of being there, it was an eviction situation where I was going through some mental health stuff as usual, isolation issues, and ended up getting kicked up out of there. And then with the other place, once I left there, my mom's condo, of course, you guys know the story where after my mother passed away, my family put that place up for sale. So of course, subsequently I had to move on. And then of course I got evicted from the other place. So it's like I never leave a place, ever leave a place on my own free will. In 41 years of living, I've never actually stopped living somewhere because I wanted to. And so that's something that I've never really thought about until basically right now, to be honest with you guys. But that's just how it's been. So yeah, that's kind of what I don't want to happen right now. But just the same, you know, if this is the best opportunity for me to get a place, then why would I get in the way of that? You know what I mean? So the key for me is to just not psych myself out. That's why I'm getting therapy now. That's why I'm trying to just get my soul right, get my mind right, so that I never get in my own way. Because that's ultimately what this comes down to 9 out of 10 times. Just being your own damn way. And so asking God to help me not do that. And so that's pretty much what I got to say, man. Prayers out to anybody who's getting uprooted in any way or who doesn't have a place. I respect all of you guys. And that's pretty much what I got to say. My name is Bdf 44. Thank you for watching.